Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashkatya Desatarana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter 26, text 38. Vayascha sparshatan matrat rupam daivaritat abhut samuthitam tatastejas chakshu rupopalam bhanam. Translation. By interaction of the air and the sensations of touch, one receives different forms according to destiny. By evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eye sees different forms in color. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Because of destiny, the touch sensation, the interactions of air, and the situation of the mind, which is produced of the ethereal element, one receives a body according to his previous activities. Needless to say, a living entity transmigrates from one form to another. His form changes according to destiny and by the arrangement of superior authority which controls the interaction of air and the mental situation. Form is the combination of different types of sense perception. Predestined activities are the plans of the mental situation and the interaction of air. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namni Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavari Pashkatya Desatarana. By interaction of the air and the sensations of touch, one receives different forms according to destiny. By evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eye sees different forms in color. So isn't it amazing how scientifically, in detail, Bhagavatam informs us how we receive this body. You can see how limited the material science is because they just orient themselves simply on the physical manifestation, and already at the subtle platform, they have already problems with that. So because the subtle body we don't see, intelligence, mind, false ego, they know it exists, but where is the form of that? They cannot see that. But subtle body is as the gross body. Prabhupada compared it to, as we are dressing, we have the body, let's say that's us. And then we put a shirt, and then we put a coat. So the shirt is the subtle body, and the coat is the gross body. And inside is the soul. So these changes of bodies, this is described here, it's like dressing room, it's just like we change different bodies, we dress differently. If you start to see the world around oneself, it becomes actually quite interesting. Because first of all, you understand everybody is a living entity. It's a soul, that's everywhere. Everything what moves, everything what is actually reproducing itself, that's a sign of life. And when there's life, there's soul. And even in the in-moving objects, there is still soul. But there is something considered dead matter. That's actually the lowest type of consciousness. Originally, everything is conscious. But Prabhupada gives example, previously, that's amazing, previously the rocks were the mountains, they were considered living entities. And they were flying. And Lord Indra got envious, so he cut off the wings and then bang, they got localized. But still, even scientists know that there are mountains which are growing and there are mountains which are sinking. Now they explain it by all kinds of movements of the earth and tectonic plates and all this. No, actually, yeah, it can happen that some pressure is there, but there are mountains which are not pressurized and they grow anyway. Like they measured Mount Everest, the next time they measured it, it was 1 meter higher with the same instruments. They couldn't understand why. It's growing. And there are some mountains which are just plop, 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 which are falling, just imploding. How is that possible? Because there is also a living thing. People living in the mountains, I met, when you distribute books, you come to the mountain areas. People are different. They are speaking about the mountains even as a persons. They give them names, yeah. They actually have the mount, and when the thunder comes or some heavy, because it's echoing, they think, oh, the mountain is roaring, yeah. Yeah, it's because they are massive, big bodies. You know why people climb mountains? Because actually they are impressed. That's a big body, I want to climb it up. As we know from the universal manifestation, from the universal form, the mountains are the bones of the universal, form. But even bones are full. This is a living organism, yeah. There are healthy bones and then there are imploding bones and, yeah. Everything what we carry around is actually living on its own. The skin, very complicated organism, And then there is a bloodstream and everybody lives the blood, It's a universe. We carry around the universe full of all kinds of living entities. So biologists know that, but they don't understand that the whole universe is like this. And it's quite an interesting view when you look around and you see practically everybody is living, yes. The trees, they are in the springtime, they are, the leaves come out and they go, ooh, And in the autumn, they go to sleep, the leaves go, and then, it falls off. And then the winter is just, okay. In springtime, they come up again. Everything around is like that. Like today in the morning, I had a discussion with a vesp, a little vesp. Want to come into the room because it's warmer inside. Outside is getting cold. And it was very tired because it was overnight in a cold. So I said, sorry, I don't like vesps in a room. They are unpredictable. They can, if you touch them, they can just punch you, So I said, you have to stay outside. And then I put her outside. No, she wants to go inside. Very conscious thing. So, so this is all around. We can see it. Gardeners, they know that. I knew one devotee, expert farmer. He talked to the plants when he, because it sounded a little bit cannibalistic. When he was planting the salad, he said, no, my dear babies, I will plant you and later on I will eat you. Sounded a little bit, but it was a farmer, Farmers are usually more pious people because they work with the weather conditions. They are close to nature. And one of the reasons why people are so demoniac and atheistic is because they got disconnected from the nature. They think food comes from the supermarket, and movement comes from the car. Previously people walked, and you're already more in touch with nature. And they knew food comes from the earth, and if there is no rain, no food. You need that. Like there's a joke, whenever there's a rainy weather, okay, people usually are not very happy. They cannot walk really much and you need an umbrella or whatever. The only one who is happy is the gardeners. They have a big smile. Ah, it's a miserable weather, it's raining. Very nice. Because they know it will grow. So, so all these things around us are just symptoms of presence of the soul. And here, in a very subtle way, is described how we get this kind of body. Why did we get it? There's 8,400,000 kinds of bodies, species, but even within the species there is so much difference. We will hardly find one body being the same like others. Even the basic standards are there, the same amount of holes. You don't find people with 2 heads, and it happens, but this is abnormal, or very special, very, you could say, twisted karma. There are twins who are grown together. That's a really funny karma. I wanted to be, really together. I couldn't resist, but once walking in a park was 2 old trees, and they had sex with each other. Really human type of sex. 2 trees. And 3, Prabhupada said, is a result of lust. You want to be naked and exhibit your nakedness? Please be my guest. Trees don't need any dress, nothing. You just stand naked there. Prabhupada described it like that. He said, all these naked hippies and this, he said, they become trees in the next lifetime. In the same park, where they used to have sex publicly, no problem. Then nobody is upset. Now, actually, these 2 trees look really too human. I was going, whoop. They really looked like they have sex with each other. So karma is like this. There is no accident we have this body. There is no accident we are born in a particular location. Therefore, this immigration of today, it's an extremely violent, sinful act. For economical purposes, for political purposes, proudly the governments are shifting massively people around, by completely artificial means. And what is happening? Chaos, just complete chaos. It's a mess. You think ever that people from Nepal becomes Croatian? It's ridiculous. They walk here around like, But they are cheap labor. Okay, let's import them. Cheap labor. That's all. That's all what they think. Not some humanitarian blah, 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 blah. They always add to it some humanitarian blah, blah, blah. No, cheap labor. Now in Krishna consciousness, I couldn't speak too loudly about it because I was immigrant and shifted around my whole life. I was an immigrant my whole life, I have different passports and identities, and I don't care anymore where I am. I really don't care if I'm in Czech Republic, Croatia, or Sweden. Of course there is a big differences. Not so much between Czech and Croatia, but between Croatia and Sweden. That's a big difference. Yeah, this is... I don't want to get into it now in detail, but there are obviously very big differences for one particular reason. That we have a similar karma. There is a national karma. And there we are born, and there we should just shut up and carry out our destiny. And the only change we can do is to become Krishna conscious or not. That's the change. And that's a very big change. Because when you become Krishna conscious, wherever you are, Krishna conscious process is ahaituke apratihata. It cannot be conditioned or stopped by any material circumstance. So wherever you are, chant Hare Krishna. Wherever you are, practice Krishna consciousness. Even in India, you find so many different ways to worship Krishna. So many different people. But they live in one country. And usually they don't immigrate, but when they immigrate, it becomes India elsewhere. Or Russians are even better example. Wherever Russians go out of Russia, it's actually powered by the ladies mostly, because the ladies always think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. They think, over there, they have something we don't have here. Let's look. But actually the funny thing is, when they get older, they are always drawn back to the locality where they were born, because they are very domesticated beings. I know that many ladies will not agree, but sorry. They are always, why? Because they are seeking security. And that place where they are born, the language they understand and the people they know, it emanates artificially, but it emanates actually more security. So therefore they always go to the local thing. But the funny thing is, I can give you examples of ladies, I can be more specific because I encountered it in a ISKCON in management that you think, I'm sitting in Sweden, why are the ladies from Finland coming here? Because the ladies think, the Finnish boys, they're all idiots. We know them, we grew up with them, Finnish boys, not very subtle. So they think, I'm a more subtle person. It's interesting, that man over there, he comes from Sweden, he comes from somewhere else. ISKCON is full of this. Full of this. You have Russian ladies checking out the Indian brahmacharis. I am not joking now. That's a serious problem. Sorry, my Russian ladies, I love it. I'm praising Russian women wherever I go, but this kind of feature, going around in ISKCON and checking out the brahmacharis, that's not the purpose of this movement, okay? This is not a dating movement, okay? Internet is full of it. Go on internet, you can get a contact all over the world. There's people who have practically sex life on the internet and they don't even know each other. No problem. But this movement is not meant for that. This is Vairagya, this is actually a renunciation movement. We should give up these bodily ideas. I know this is not very popular if you speak like this in some locations, but this is the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. It's what he gave us. He came and showed us, no, you are not American, you are not German. But simultaneously, he was very aware of the different types of bodies and conditioning we carry around. If you follow acoustically just, I once did it for a few years. I vigorously listened to Prabhupada's lecture, traveling around the world, following him chronologically. Now, many of these lectures are very similar. Same shloka, similar lecture. But I noticed how Prabhupada's voice even changed and how he explained Krishna going philosophy a little bit according to the local mentality of the people. Like he comes to Caracas, South America. Prabhupada was actually, it was arranged, he was received on an airport in a VIP section. Straight out of the airplane, he was escorted to the limousine. And that limousine drove him through the city in a kind of parade fashion, with police motorbikes in front, police motorbikes in front, like the president is arriving of the country. And in a lecture, next morning, you can hear Prabhupada saying, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this amazing welcome you gave me here, like that. And Prabhupada speaks very like a king arriving, Prabhupada could be anything. He was so amazing. He could just, therefore people were so fascinated by him. They were thinking, oh, he is coming from India, but he understands me. Yeah. He understands me. And it was not linguistically, Prabhupada didn't speak the language. it was not even very physically, it was purely spiritual. Because as a spiritual soul, actually, we should always find a platform to understand each other, isn't it? Any conflict between devotees, all this it's always based on the body. You know, it's always the body in between. I think, I believe, in my opinion. No. I think, I believe, in my opinion. And it goes like this back and forth, as long as we actually also don't understand how people express themselves. You know, if you go to a Swedish devotee and he will go, yeah, so, tak, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That was a conversation. And he wants to tell you that he agrees with you. Yeah, so, tak, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And that was lots of conversation. You know, when you come to Russia, they will go, well, you entered my heart, you know, and they will flood you with words you don't understand, you know, but it's a lot of words. When you go to Italy, you think, oh, what are they playing here? It's all like a stage, you know. And then comes the Arctic. You think, whoa, it's like an opera here. I grew up in an opera, so I know that. It's like opera, you know. It's like a whoa. And then it's like, wow. Well, this is how they express themselves, you know. In Italy, I was living in this locality. So I was not just visiting, I was actually living there. When two devotees go, you think, oh my God, they have a conflict here. They are fighting each other. No. They are just expressing their emotions. And then they take together prasadam. You know, prasadam, bellissimo. And they really know how to cook. Amazing feast, Italian feast, amazing. You know. So, the only thing actually that happens when Italians fall in Maya, they switch from Chanamrita to Vino Tinto. That's all. That's all. Otherwise, they are vegetarian, they have pasta and all this, and yeah, sure, you know, even pizza can be vegetarian, no problem. But the Chanamrita, yeah, very nice, but where's the Vino Tinto, you know? So, you know, this is individual conditioning. Every country you go, you find something. You know, yeah. You go to Polish devotees and they go, it was a nice lecture, but not my mood. And you go, so what is your mood? I don't know, but it was not my mood. They have to disagree on something, damn it. Even they like you, they will disagree on something. And when you ignore it, and you go, yes, this is okay, this is your mood, okay, my mood, okay. And then you keep on talking, they like you. They are very, very actually kind people. Very assisting and very kind. But they must disagree. That's what it is. I disagree. You know? And they think, why? Well, because that's what people do in that country. They disagree all the time. You know? So what can you do? You must live with that. Prabhupada was so amazing. He could just fit into anything of this. He could inspire anybody from any location to come and become Krishna conscious. Of course, if he was a demon, a real demon, atheist, or worse, that you cannot change. That's what can we do. But, you know, he could even... Prabhupada's interviews with American reporters, always arrogant fellows, you know. I'm coming from New York Times, what are you doing here? You know, that's how the interview starts, you know. And Prabhupada was immediately, you can hear Prabhupada's voice, he was immediately upgrading. Why do you have such a big car? And Prabhupada answered, are the Americans so poor that they cannot give me a big car? They're a leading nation, you know. So I'm in America, yeah, people give me a big car. Actually, I'm the big guru. Guru should have a golden car. and you offer me such a lousy Lincoln, car. Amazing. Therefore, I was shocked. I didn't expect a poor Indian coming from India saying this. But Prabhupada knew, I'm in America. Americans are always big time. Once I spoke to a wonderful American devotee, Dhanavya Maharaj. I said, I appreciate Americans. They always think big. And they never allow themselves to be pushed down. They always come up. There's a tornado coming, it wipes up the whole town. 2 years, it's back again. They put American flag and they go, yeah! It's a useful mentality for spreading Krishna consciousness. So they always think big. And then Navya Maharaj looked at me really and he said, but they can also make a big mess. And they can. The American mass is really big. And even that Prabhupada knew. He said, you Americans, you can do only two things. Shooting and making money. And money you are using just to cover the problems. You don't solve problems, you just cluster them with money. And previously it was even real money, gold-based. Now you just print money, paper. And you just cluster with paper. How many $1 billion? Okay. No argument. Shut up, I will give you money. They try to close even your mouth with money, It's just like, that's the only thing. And paper money, useless. It changes its value tomorrow. It's no value in it. Previously, Prabhupada said, for $1, you could go anytime to the bank and you got this amount of gold. It's all gold-based. That's the real currency. One of the reasons why many rich people change today their savings and their money into ruble. Russian ruble. You know why? Because it's based on gold. Yeah, they know. There's more stability here. Anyway, this is just a detail. So, Prabhupada knew all these things. He was a very, very experienced person. And he was empowered. So I don't want to go now into this, to go into it what some people dare to say today in name of Krishna consciousness about Prabhupada. If you ever encounter such offenses, don't be quiet. Oppose. Because if you are quiet, Prabhupada said, silence means actually agreement. It's a passive agreement. So even you cannot change it. These rascals will keep on talking. Internet is great for that. But at least we can say no. We can oppose. That much we can say. Like Prabhupada said in connection to scientists, he said, scientists are in very powerful positions. They are connected to government. They are at the service of the government. Therefore Prabhupada said, one devotee said, scientists are like gyanis, isn't it? They are, gyanis means they research by mental power. Prabhupada said, no, they are shudras. They are shudras simply serving the government for their economical needs, and they develop all these funny toys. Drones. Now we have a drone warfare. That's really something. It cannot get even more impersonal. A drone comes, then boom. There's nobody inside. It's just a machine. It's a huge thing now, drone warfare. So it becomes completely impersonal. You don't even know where the drone came from. Yeah? So this kind of scientific development, which actually it's in priority dedicated to military warfare. All these things we have today using telephones, refrigerator, radio. This was originally developed for military. And then, of course, the business guys, they realized, let's give it some maha to the public. Let's make some money with it. So we got mercifully, we got from the military, we got the radio, and we got this, and TV, and this, and micro oven. This is a military development. So this was accidentally, actually, by stupidity of time. Anyway, I don't want to go in detail, but micro oven is a really funny thing. The guy was working in a laboratory developing some military equipment, and he liked to eat chocolate. While he was developing some machine, he was eating chocolate. And somehow he put the chocolate in his pocket, and he walked to the other side of the room, and the chocolate melted in his pocket. He said, but it's not a hot here. Why did he melt it? Then he put another piece of chocolate, walked the same way, it melted again. And then he realized he's walking between two machines which emanate some radiation, which causes his chocolate to melt. So he took these two machines and he was like experimenting what else will melt. Because scientists are like this. They think, they can only do destruction. You know that? Melting, exploding, destroying. That's scientific development, right? How much more we can destroy? Let's get into it. They don't care for the consequences. They just like to destroy things, actually. Not create, destroy. Otherwise, what's the use of developing atomic bomb? It's just destroying things. It doesn't, you explode atomic bomb and there's a new city. No. The old city is vanishing, finished. So much for the scientific development. Very good. When Mr. Oppenheimer, a really big-time rascal, who was aware of Bhagavad Gita even, who was aware of Krishna's presence, when he exploded the first atomic bomb, a test, he was betting with his colleagues if that explosion will, lighten up the whole atmosphere, put on fire or not. He didn't care even for destroying the universe. And therefore he quoted Krishna. He said, I am the destroyer of all the universes. That quote is famous and it was recorded. What a rascal. And then he realized, it's quite a good big bang, but it didn't destroy the atmosphere. Good. We can use it, and they used it twice in Japan. So, but he had no idea about the radiation. So there were thousands of soldiers, American soldiers, with sunglasses. They knew this is going to be a big bang, standing too close to that explosion. They all got radiated and they all got cancer and died. So much for the scientific development. Let's see how many will die. That's all. And they go, but they created medicine. Look, we will give you medicine. It's very effective. Every medicine you apply, in a Western sense especially, not Ayurveda, in a Western sense, always destroy something else. You get a package and there is written there, this is very good for headache, and this, that. And then the by the way effects. It could happen. It destroys your liver, it destroys your stomach, So you think, I have no more headache. Yeah, but your liver is finished. This is Western medicine. It's great. It's fantastic. And the Western people, they don't want to wait. They want something fast. Something you can immediately feel and see. So tablet. They say, whoop. And they go, doesn't taste anything special. You swallow it, you don't feel anything. The problem is solved because you don't feel anything. It's painkillers they give you. And it doesn't kill the pain, it moves the pain somewhere else, which you don't see it. And you think, that's the solution to the problem. Ayurvedic medicine, first thing, it tastes horrible. The more horrible it tastes, the more you can be sure it's good. Of course now they also switched, they have machines for Ayurvedic tablets. But when I came first time to India, and you went to a doctor and you said, we have digestion problems and all this is India, dysentery, this was very popular. I don't want to go in detail in this lecture, but Western people have no idea what dysentery is. You have to go to India for that. Every 2 weeks dysentery, you are finished. You cannot even walk. We had practical experience. So anyway, so you go for medicine. And they gave, I remember it was Indian newspaper, cut in stripes like this, and they roll the newspaper together, it becomes like a cup. And then they give you the thing, and then they can even close it, and they say, medicine, very good, very good. And it's some herbs. It looks horrible, and it tastes even more horrible, but it's a very good medicine. And it works more in a long-term fashion. You have to, actually Ayurveda is, you have to be, it's a lifestyle. And even Srila Prabhupada had problem with that because he was traveling all the time, and Ayurveda is not good for traveling. Srila Prabhupada even said Ayurveda is for prevention, actually, mainly. And people don't want prevention what? I don't feel anything. Why should I prevention of what? They want, when the disease hits, and they will tablet, and I don't feel it anymore. That's the Western solution to the problem. Anyway, this is just an example. So all these very, very gross things we are experiencing, they can be seen in a much more subtle fashion as described here. People operate the body like it belongs to them. Obviously it doesn't. It will be taken away again. They don't understand where the body came from, how it's composed, how it's created. And this is the external energy of the Lord. That's external for Krishna. Krishna just creates things like this, these machines and these vehicles we are operating with. But this is not his main business. They praise God. You are giving us our daily bread. Because eating, very important. They pray to God, give me a nice family, give me a nice economic development, give me a... And Krishna goes, yeah, okay, take it. But this is not his main interest. His main interest is to play flute, watch cows, and dance with gopis in a spiritual world. And there are so many things going on in a spiritual world, on a very, very subtle platform. I don't want to go into it because we can only read about it, but to indulge in an intense meditation about the spiritual world is not required and not recommended unless we don't fully understand the material workings, at least the basic facts. What Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, those who understood the material energy, the external energy, and the internal energy, they can go back to me. And what is the understanding of the material energy? Give it up. It's not our home. It's external. Come on, we just discuss here things and we take this body so seriously. But there's just a bunch of mucus and skin and the eye, and it's just... I mean, if I would disintegrate the body and give you a plastic bag with the same ingredients, would you take it seriously? You would go, yeah, it stinks. Yeah, the body stinks. Yeah, it does. It's disgusting. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, I heard, once expressed the amazing workings of illusion. He said, even when passing stool, I enjoy it. Isn't it amazing? It's so disgusting, but actually I enjoy it too. And it's a fact. Just watch people going to the toilet. Before they go in the toilet, they look very tense. And when they come out of the toilet, they are self-satisfied, Atmarama. Why? Because they pass stool. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing what our concept of happiness is? Just to get rid of some stool and you are happy. You're happy, man. I mean, this is daily situations we experience practically, you know. I mean, it just happened to me once. Somehow I felt very important. I was temple president. I walked in a temple. And one devotee came running and he pushed me like anything. I was going, what? He came from behind, pushed me, and I was going, what do you want? Why are you pushing me? My false ego woke up. I have to go to the toilet. And then he disappeared. And then I was going, oh yeah, okay. It was not me, it was the toilet, this is daily situations we experience. We know how it works. Therefore, we should not take ourselves so seriously. The bodily part. Yeah, okay. There are poems and there are prayers of highly advanced devotees who end up operating from a top spiritual platform, describing themselves in a material world living like something quite unimportant, very introspective. Look at this big acharya sitting on this big seat. It's like putting a pig on a seat. Now they are even giving the garland to a pig. Isn't it amazing? Now this is real introspection. This is real humility. Real humility is derived from knowledge. So a real devotee, he doesn't take his bodily situations so it's not so grave. Even for the others, it is important because that's the body we are communicating with. When the body of Acharya disappears, it's a disaster. On a spiritual platform, not much happened. We are all eternal souls, okay? Yeah, but we operate here through the bodies, and if you are not on a spiritual platform, then the disappearance of such a wonderful, amazing personality creates a disaster because we get confused. So we have to distinguish what is spiritual connection and material connection. Therefore, it is stated that whenever a great acharya like Srila Prabhupada goes on, he just leaves the body here, which is considered spiritual body because it was purely used for spiritual purposes. That's actually a definition of spiritual body. People get confused, But you buried him here. What do you mean spiritual body? It's disintegrating. No. It's spiritual because it was purely used for spiritual purposes. But the others, whose bodies are not so purely used for spiritual purposes, they get confused. And then there's always chaos. Always. The question is, how do we come out of the chaos? And what is saving us from the chaos? And that's only possible by uncompromisingly following the Acharya. He gave a basis, foundation we can walk on. And there will be always attempts to water it down, disintegrate it, so we lose the balance and fall over. That's Maya. Maya is actually testing us. How serious you are walking in Krishna consciousness. If you are serious, she will give you a serious foundation. If you want something similar or water it down, then Maya will create a wonderful detour. It's like on a train, There's a track. The train is very solid. It runs on the same track. But then it's, a way, like I know train stations, where all the trains come in the same way and all the trains go out the same way. You think, how is that possible? But they go in different directions. They all are leaving direction west. And some of them, they go direction east. How is that possible? Yeah, because after the train station, there is a switch. And the rails go in half circle and you end up in opposite direction driving without even noticing. You think, oh no, I'm going the same direction. No, you don't. So Maya is always putting these switches, This is a new Krishna consciousness. Come. She put the switch and you go, we are progressing. And look, people like it. The train is full. You know, don't you see how successful we are? Full train going in a wrong direction. So we are not paying so much attention to that, how packed the train is. You know, there were many history of mankind. So many people uniting and following a leader, all going to hell. The history of mankind is full of this. You know, do you ever saw Mr. Hitler coming into power? There's like a chronological documentation on that. It was just a screaming guy, you know, in a bar. His first lecture was in a bar. And actually it happened accidentally. He had some sympathy for the local nationalistic fanatics. It was a small group of drunk people. And he thought, sounds good, yeah? And they noticed, you like us? Then you give the speech. And they put him on a chair. And he was going, well, you know, I never gave a speech, you know. But having minority complex, that's a privilege of an unrecognized artist, but I don't want to go now more in detail. Maybe you will find somebody you know who is of the same mentality. Unrecognized artist, well, that's a real problem. He's always narcissistic, you know, he's striving for recognition. So Hitler thought, maybe it's a good opportunity, I can appear in public. So he noticed how they are talking, and he copied them. And they love it. They were going, the man understands our hearts. You are our leader. And he said, me? Okay, why not? And then he became the leader of the new Nazi party. And they went out and they realized people like it. Germans are like this, you know. I know it. You know how I know it? Well, I practiced. I was 15 years on Sankirtan on a street in Germany. I still met many people who were crying on Hitler's birthday, those days. I'm speaking 1972. There were still people alive who survived the imprisonment in Stalingrad and all this. You know, I met people like this on the street. And some of them, they really didn't like it that Hitler lost the war still. And then we came, you know, Hare Krishna, you know. Hello, it's all Maya here, you know. Oh my God, they hated us. You know, spontaneously, from the heart. You know. Ich werde dich vergasen. I would send you in a gas chamber. That was still a mantra we heard sometimes. Nowadays it's different, but that was still like this. I would send you to the gas chamber. So, and I don't know why. Even German devotees, I'm not a German, okay? But they were amazed how quickly I adapted myself. I just grew in size. Look at the man, he said, Maul halten, abtreten, Herr Gauleiter, einzig. And you realize, my God, he's maybe a bigger Nazi as me. And they became very respectful. I know how to play that game too, but it's a disgusting game. I don't like to do this. But I can. You know, I can become a really good Nazi on the spot. But then it's a show. And you give it up and you go, Haribol Prabhu. And and then there's few devotees. I had authorities like Hare Kesha. They knew me. You know how Hare Kesha called me? Everybody had a nickname in Hare Kesha days. Everybody some of the still present mega gurus, they had a nickname when we worked together. We were brahmacharis, you know. So we all had a little nicknames. One of them, I'm not going to be too specific, but one of them, he always came too late. So his name was His Slowness. You know, that was his name. Because he was always spaced out, he came too late. And, you know, another one, he had the nickname Smart American, because he was very clever. And my nickname was the Master of Artificial Humility. Because Hare Krishna knew I appear very humble sometimes. But inside, there's a little Adolf Hitler, yeah. I can come out like this, And so, I don't like that. But sometimes when meeting a rascal demon or somebody who obstructs my devotional service, I can come out like this, no problem. That's just my nature. We have a different nature. And when you learn to live amongst devotees, you learn more to understand the nature of devotees, and you don't get carried away by the first appearance, We are sometimes, some devotees are very good at it, to look in a particular way. But actually, when you really know, then you look behind that covering, it's a covering, and then you understand the real devotee. Some devotees, they look very heavy, but they are very soft-hearted, extremely soft-hearted. And some devotees, they look very soft, but they have a heart, very heavy. So you learn more to operate on a heart level. Then life becomes really interesting. And people don't like you for that. Many people will not like you because they want to look in a particular way, and you don't buy it. It's really frustrating to them. Look, I'm a humble Vaishnava. And you go, really? And they go, this is Vaishnava Aparat. Because they just flip out, because the show is not flying. You don't buy it. But I didn't came here to Krishna consciousness to play show. From the first moment I entered this movement, I was going, now I met people who actually don't like to play the show. They don't like to have world of designations, world of names, it's called in Bhagavatam. This is this world. Everybody carries some designation, which is artificial, it's external. So in Krishna consciousness, I want to come to the reality. Who are we really? And then you realize, we are all small parts of Krishna. His eternal servants, always a servant. Isn't it that even the cheaters operate with that mantra? They go, come, I will serve you. The politicians want to serve, everybody wants to serve. Nah, it's all cheating. They want to rule over and dominate. No service, no. So we shouldn't duplicate this mentality in Krishna consciousness. Prabhu, I am your humble servant, so I can use you for my purpose. Yeah, this mentality, unfortunately, I also found it on a way. And I frustrate people like this because I am not useful like this. Nah. Sometimes when they are really foolish, they approach me, they want to use me, Very nice. Come, please sit. We will use you. And then they find out, the man is not useful, And then they get rid of him. He's not useful. That's all bodily thinking. You know how many people alone in Krishna consciousness I met who tried to use the others until they died? That's it. Where are they now? I don't know. They are gone. Whoop. So this is the reality. We are only for a very brief moment here. Why should we waste the time of being somebody we are not? Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is saying, I am the servant of the servant of the servant. That's all. That's the real ultimate position, not even designation. That's the position we are really in. The servant of the servant of the servant. But, of course, if you are inexperienced devotee, then you try to be servant of everybody. When you are a little bit more experienced, then you are more discriminate with your service because you understand the time is limited and serving idiots and fools is a waste of time. Yeah. Why? Because they are insisting to remain fools and rascals. What can you do? Nothing. So you dedicate your service to those who are truly serving. Serving what? The mission of the spiritual master. One devotee told me, showed me a beautiful shloka in Bhagavatam, where Maharaj Ambarish finally was offended by Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni, being arrogant transcendentalist, a mystic yogi, he offended Maharaj Ambarish, and we know he was chased ultimately by his Sudarshan Chakra through the whole universe, seeking even shelter at Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva said, no, I cannot help you, it's Sudarshan Chakra, I cannot help you. The only thing you can be saved when you go back to Maharaj Ambarish and you apologize. So that's what Durvasa Muni did. And the conclusion, the purport in the last thing is amazing. Then Prabhupada comments, and then Durvasa Muni and Maharaj Ambarish embraced as friends and served together in a process of bhakti yoga. That's the mediation means. Prabhu, I don't like you. You don't like me. But let's serve together the mission of the spiritual master. And we will like each other, you will see. You crazy, me crazy. Doesn't matter. Let's serve. Actually, one of my very eccentric godbrothers, he said, I don't mind crazy people as long as they serve, they do some service. Now it's difficult to manage crazy people doing service, but as long as they agree to do that service, there is always a platform of improvement. Always. Without a service, forget it. Mediation. Prabhu, how do you feel about me? I don't know. You look so strange. I don't like you. Well, you also look so strange. I don't like you. Why? I don't know. I feel emotionally abused by you. Really? I didn't want to do that. But by seeing your stupidity, I feel also emotionally abused. But there's no end to it. I feel, I think, I desire so many different desires, so many different feelings, so many different thoughts. How can we unite? Hey, there's something practical to do. Prabhupada said the ultimate unification platform is kirtan. I love you, I hate you, let's go to the kirtan. I love you, I hate you, let's together distribute books. Oh, that's a heavy mediation platform, I tell you. If I would tell you from my days where I spent 17 years sitting in a car with devotees, I didn't like all of them. No, we didn't like each other so much, yeah. There was very tense atmosphere, I remember sometimes, living in a car like this, 4 men on top of each other. Well, that can create conflicts, You move, I move, That's the physical part. We had to sometimes sleep like fish in doses, turn synchronically, because there was no space. You turn, I turn. We were squeezed on each other. I lived like this for years. Just the smell of the other one was enough, And, it was just, everything was not right. Up to the point where we all packed our bag and went on the street distributing books. Still in the morning was tense. Prabhu, just under my books and Hare Krishna. Very tense. When we came back together in the evening, it was beautiful atmosphere. The whole day you were just slapped in the face by atheistic people. And then you were so happy to come in the evening and just to see a devotee who was also slapped by atheistic people the whole day. So I remember devotees coming to the door, opening the car, going, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhyayevacha. So nice, so humble. Because we were serving the same mission. We got the same purification and we got the same mercy. That's where we can unite. That's the ultimate unification formula. Outside of that, I can boldly say, after 53 years in ISKCON, forget it. It's my Krishna consciousness, your Krishna consciousness. It's not my mood, I am more in the Radhika mood, and I am more in the Nishingadev mood, and I am in this mood and that mood, and let's go and serve Srila Prabhupada's mission. We will be wonderfully united. I will not unite with me so easily with you, because I am the big authority, Okay, big authority means big book distribution, big preaching. Let's go out together. Let's see how that works. Take a book. I'm a big guru. We just see the response. The comments will go, you big guru? What do they know about this? Nothing. So we are all servants of the mission of Srila Prabhupada. When we get this really right, we will have a fantastic movement and fantastic association too. Because that's the way to connect. Can you imagine? I don't want to go more in detail, but I met a very prominent personalities in ISKCON. One of them, the lady, she knew me from the past, and she was going, you, and always you're preaching about the mission. I realized this lady is completely in Maya. You and your mission. What do you mean, my mission? I have no mission. What is my mission? Hey, I have a Manidhara mission here. I have a mission. Come, join my mission. Come on. I have nothing. Whatever I talk to you is here trying to be staying close to Bhagavatam, trying to stay close to Prabhupada. What shall I say? I don't know. What I feel, I can share with you what I feel. But it will change. People say, you don't understand my feelings. And you go, what are your feelings? I want to go to the toilet. Well, that's a really intense feeling, I believe that. But it will change, as I described before. So what do you want to discuss? No, people can reveal their feelings and their mind. We have nothing against that. But don't expect an ultimate solution just on that level. The question is, what are we going to do with it? Let's purify our feelings, purify our mind, and purify our heart by service to the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It's late. Yeah. Oh, before I move on, which is today, I would like to really thank everybody here. All the brave heroes who are collecting in this empty temple room every morning in front of the deities for saving this place, and also giving me the shelter for whatever few days I'm here. It's not the first time in Zagreb temple I am recuperating and consciously consuming the incredible service from you, how you are helping me to keep on going. Thank you really for being here. I know that you are not here for any other purpose as to serve the mission. And that, without knowing you really much, I think, I know these people. Yeah. You don't have to be here. Everybody else of you could do something else or go somewhere else. But you are here, you are sticking it out, you are trying to do your service, and you are even helping such a, I would call it Sankirtan leftover. That's what I call myself, The leftovers from the mercy of Srila Prabhupada traveling around still, and you are even taking care of me and helping me like this. It's wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you for existing.
Thank to you, because you are inspiring us. Thank to you for your inspiration. You're inspiring us when you're coming here.
I don't know. I tell you, less and less I feel like a preacher. Because I speak mostly to all the devotees. What do you want to preach to all the devotees? They heard everything 1,000 times. No, sharing. I feel more like I can share with you. Maybe something you didn't hear yet, which I heard. And then when it comes back and devotees share with me what they heard, oh, maybe I didn't hear, oh, that's really nice. So sometimes they tell me when I travel out, like you said, you came to inspire us here. No, it's opposite, you're inspiring me. Without you, what will I do? Just sit somewhere in a car. I don't have even a home, really. Let me just sit in a car and chant. In a forest. Oh, you will never see me doing that. Me sitting in a forest, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. I don't want to go more in detail, but there are people who are preaching this. We have to go inside. Don't do this outside here. Don't mess around with some old building here, standing here. This is all matter. You know that? This is all matter. You have to go inside. Don't bother with outside. Go inside. And you have to taste the holy name. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. You know how I call it? I don't call it tasting the holy name. I call it the milking of holy name. Like you milk a cow, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Let's get something out of it, damn it. Now I know some people will not like when I hear this, but this is preached today. And it's completely opposite to Srila Prabhupada, who said, how do you get inside? By preaching outside. Yeah. You serve, and Prabhupada was no inside and outside. It didn't exist. There was no inside. You never hear Prabhupada preaching this. You have to go inside. No. You said you have to do it now, outside. Because outside and inside is the same in Krishna consciousness. It's all for Krishna. Why you discriminate? So this introvertism being implemented in a name of worshipping the holy name. Is it really worship? You know how you worship the holy name? You spread it to others. That's the real worship. Not just by keeping it for yourself and squeezing out of it the ecstasy. Therefore, I never find such a people being very ecstatic. Not really. You look just at the appearance of such a internal chanters, you look very miserable to me. I go, Prabhu, where's the bliss? I mean, you must have lots of bliss because you digested lots of holy name, And they go, I still didn't reach the insight. I have to go more and more inside. It's actually Buddhistic, Buddhists are like this. They say that this is all illusion, Maya, external, this is all. But do they fight inside? Well, what is inside? Well, it's the mind, the stomach, and the genital. Yeah, that's inside, waiting for us to be activated. Where's the soul? Soul manifests by activity. Prabhupada said, service. Where's the love? Love, Prabhupada said, is service. That's the real love. You love something in somebody, you serve him. And what is service? Service. You do service here. Practical service. That's what Prabhupada policy. Anyway, I apologize if somebody feels offended, but I never understood what this inside and outside business is. Oh yeah, Prabhupada once ironically commented, he said, I saw so many yogis on the side of the street in India meditating, inside, meditating. And Prabhupada said, meditating and snoring, because they all fall asleep. That might be the ultimate result of the traveling inside. I'm not saying it's always like that, but it could be, yeah. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Manidhara Prabhu ki jai.